Mr. Cocktail puts his feet up on the table and says, I have one for you, boys. Have I ever told you about the time we fought the undead just outside of Littleton? The halflings around the table stare at him in disbelief and simultaneously gasp, yes! Oh, shuts up. These kind humans haven't heard it. So we gets this ferryman coming into the tavern. Oh yeah, I was Captain Strawberry Cocktail at the time, and that was my duty week. So we gets this ferryman in there yelling that them undead have hits his ferry and sunk it. That they was beached and setting up camp. So we gets the boys together, and we have a couple of them funny enchantresses come along with us to get the vampire counts coming out of Sylvania. But we get there, and behold, we're carrying all this anti-Sylvania stuff for nothing. These boys ain't coming from Sylvania. They're going to Sylvania. Except they got lost and ended up going down the Ever River instead of the Stir. And then they get beached here in the Moot and have to trek it by foot. See, there's this vampire named Luthor who's the admiral of the fleet of the Deadens, and he's a bit cracked in the head. So he says, "Boy, we need to get us some prizes." And one of his captains says, "I hear if we get ourselves to Sylvania, there's some of that Manfred's booty to be had." So Luthor gives him this stare and says, "And what do ye want with a man's booty?" His captain looks at him, he stares at him. If he was live, his jaw would drop open, but he's not. So he just stares at him and says, "Not his booty, his booty." Luthor answers back, "Okay, we'll get his booty and his legs and his arms. Bet there's some magic in them too." His captain just looks at him because he's dead and can't do nothing else. But don't say nothing because he knows that Luthor ain't gonna have no more, and they heading out now to get Manfred's booty. And that's how we find him and had to fight him. So he gets out there, and they ain't got no mages or no magic. Here we bring all this stuff to stop them casting nasty stuff, and they ain't got none of it, but they's got a whole lot of cannons, something like 4 of them. And then this behemoth they called a queen, and it's bigger than this here inn is. So we had to get stuck in there before they shoot us to death. They popped 2 of those ogres that hang out in the square looking for food, but one of their guns blows up for sure enough. Must have been bad powder or something the like. Now we charge this huge bloated thing. We destroy it, but it blows up in our face. Luckily for us, we had one of them enchantresses get off some protection spells, and not too many of the boys died. Militia from the village, they decide they're going to charge one of those cannons. But they're so busy talking about who's paying for the after-dinner meal, they stop right there. The ogres get stuck into the cannon and rips it to pieces, then hit the zombie unit. We hit this group of giant zombies all pieced together. Then this one other bunch of zombies slam into the ogres and wipe them out. Then one of the units hits us while the other ones runs into another militia unit that was chasing some screaming thing. We're battling this group of zombies and them huge ones too. And here's that vampire Luthor yelling and carrying on when the Sticky Fingers McGraw gets his notion he's going to nick something from Luthor. Luthor picks him up, and that's the end of Sticky Fingers. Now the master chef that was with us was in that small unit of militia who is now fighting 2 sets of zombies and the screaming lady. Rack up that whole unit of halflings. But the master chef, he can run really fast. He starts running, trying to get to the fence where one of those ranger units is hiding. Oh yeah, them Rangers were making a name for themselves that day. One gang started pin-cushioning this bunch of undead doggies and took the last one down just as he was trying to get over the fence at him. On the other side of the field, the other Rangers ripped into this flock of undead carrion and brought them down before they could do any harm. All this time, those undead guns are going off, but they're not doing much. Of course, our guns weren't doing no better. They kept trying to hit this giant stinking crab with rockets and pies, but those guys couldn't hit an ogre's butt at 4 feet away. At least the dead guys had an excuse. Their powder had to be bad. 2 more of their guns blew up. We kept whittling down them big zombies and the little ones down too, but that Luthor keeps whacking the boys in the unit. Then that giant crab crawls over to our flank and starts cutting us up. Now my throat's getting a little bit parched. Mind paying for another ale? Okay, that's better. Meantime, the chef is being chased by 2 units of them zombies and that screaming lady. The Rangers are shooting at him as they get closer and closer. The boys in the big militia unit decide who is paying for the food after the battle and charge into that crab. And the battle starts going good for us. We kill that crab and all the zombies. Luthor suddenly just falls apart. One of the enchantresses get a spell off and burns one of those units. The zombies chasing the chef. Everything's going our way, but the chef gets caught and killed by the other zombies. That big gun they call the Queen finally gets in a good shot, and only 2 of them Rangers that are left were shooting at the birds. So we get our unit turned around, but we ain't close enough to get at those zombies yet. Some zombies charge the dog-killing Rangers and get stuck in, but the Rangers is hiding behind that fence, so the zombies can't get at them. The zombie captain starts looking around and notices there ain't no zombies left except them that is with him, and he gives us his signal. He says, we just passing through and didn't mean no harm. Mind if I just pick up and the leftover bits of Luthor and be on my way? Well, it was getting to supper time, and we were all hungry, so I says, sure, be on your way, and don't come back. And he says, thanks. He picks up Luthor and slips back into the lake. Well, we eat our dinner and heads back to the inn for some ale and some banana chips. One of the humans turned to him and said, that's one heck of an adventure, is it true? One of the halflings at the table said, it's true, though it seems there's more and more zombies every time we hear the story. You know, boys, I wouldn't be telling you any tall tales. This is just one of those true cocktails.